Okay guys, so this video is the supplementary video for week 25, which is the slope intercept form for straight lines. Okay, so we have seen basically all the forms for a linear relation, aka a straight line, right? Because a straight line and linear relation, these two concepts are equivalent in mathematics. So before we start doing the slope intercept form again, I want to have a brief review on all the forms just to deepen our understanding. Okay. So in the past few weeks, we have seen three different forms of a linear relation, aka a straight line. Okay. So we have seen something called standard form. Standard form looks like this: ax plus by plus c is equal to 0. Here, a, b, c, they are all real numbers. Okay. And the second form, we see point slope point form or point slope form. Point slope. Okay. So the point slope form looks like y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. Okay, so here in this form, in this formula, m is the slope of a straight line. Okay. And x1, y1 is a given point, is a point on the straight line. And the coordinates are given. Okay. If you ask me what x and y stand for, I will say xy here. So xy. This is also a point on the straight line, but it's not a specific point. XY, these coordinates, they represent a random and arbitrary point on this straight line. So you can understand X and Y as the coordinates of every point on the straight line. It's a generalized form. It's a general form. Okay. So these coordinates represent every point on the straight line. Okay. So that's the second form. The third form is the one that we saw this Saturday, right? The third form is called a slope intercept form. If we want to be more precise, we should call this form a slope y-intercept form. Y-intercept, because in this form, we can read the y-intercept strictly directly off the form. Okay, so what does that mean? It means a slope y-intercept form looks like this. Y is equal to mx plus b. Okay, so in this formula, m is still the slope of the straight line. It's still the slope of the straight line, and b is the y-intercept. Y-intercept. Okay, if you're not familiar with the concept X and Y intercept, I'm not going to spend more time talking about it. Like I remember talking about X and Y intercept with a lot of details in one of the old videos. So if you need more information about what X and Y intercepts are, please go back to those videos and make sure you understand them, okay? So slope y-intercept form, it looks like y is equal to mx plus b. This means if I give you, so let's try a few examples. So imagine the question says, let's say this question 1, okay? So imagine the question says, okay, I know these information, I know the following information about straight line. Can you write the expression of the straight line? I know the slope of a straight line is, let's say, 5. I know the y-intercept is 0, 9. And the question is asking you, what is the expression of a straight line? Okay. We know that m is equal to 5, and we know y-intercept is 0, 9. So this point is 0, 9. So b is equal to 9. Okay. So we know these two pieces of information. We know m is equal to 5, and we know b is equal to 9. So these two pieces of information give us the expression y is equal to 5x plus 9. Okay, so this is the first type of question that you might be tested in your exam. Okay, you're given the slope of the straight line and the y-intercept of the straight line, and you're asked to find the expression. This is actually very, very easy. Okay, you can just write the expression based on m and y-intercept. Okay, because y is equal to mx plus b, right? We know m. So 5 goes here, m, and 9 goes here. Then you're done. Okay. So this is the first type of question. Now, given the same information, slope and the y-intercept, how can we draw the graph of this straight line? That would be the second type of question. Okay, so the first type of question is, if I give you the slope and the y-intercept, can you find the expression of the straight line? The second type of question is, if I gave you the same information, these two, how can you draw the graph? Easy. So let me try to show you how to do that. So we have m slope, okay, 5. We can write this as 5/1. So when we draw graphs of a straight line, we always need to find the rise and the run, right? We've seen this in the first or second class of linear relation. So we draw straight lines based on slope and a point, right? So if we have this 5, we need to write it as 5/1, because in this form, we can see 5 means the rise and 1 means the run, right? So now we have rise and run. And also we have the y-intercept, right? The y-intercept is 0, 9. Okay. So we have this point. Y-intercept is part of the straight line. So it must be on the straight line, right? So we have a point on the straight line and we have rise and run. Now we can draw the graph, right? So let me try to draw it. Okay. and you need a bigger space. Okay, so let me try this. Okay. Okay. Let's hope this is enough. So this is x-axis and this is y-axis, right? First step, let's plot this point in this graph, in the coordinates plane. Okay, so we have 0, 9, that's our y-intercept. So we know this is 0, so 0, right? And the x-coordinate is 0, so we don't move on the x-axis. So we go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so this is 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is 9. This is 9, right? So this point is 0, 9. This point is also the y-intercept of this straight line. Okay. Now we start from this point. We use the slope information. Okay. Rise is 5, is positive. Rise is positive, so we go up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then run is 1. We go to the right by 1 unit. So it's here. Here. Okay. Let me try to move this again. This is not a good graph. Okay, let me try to make it. Okay, I think this is good. So now we have our y-intercept and the point that we found based on the slope. Now we have 2 points. And if we join these 2 points, this will be our straight line. Okay, this will be our straight line. This will be the straight line that we're looking for. Okay, so this is the second type of question that you will see in your exam. Given the slope and y-intercept, you will be asked to draw the straight line in the coordinates plane. Okay. Let's do another example. Let me pause the video for a second so I can find a good example. Okay, so let's see another example. Let's call this Q2. Okay. For example, the slope of the straight line is given, which is, let's say, -2. Actually, let's try -1/3. Okay, because I want to give you like different types of example, so you don't just see, integers or positive numbers. I want you to see negative numbers, fractions, etc. And the y-intercept is, let's say, 0, -2. Okay, so first of all, let's find the expression of this straight line. So part A of the question says, find the linear relation. Easy. We know that the point intercept form looks like y is equal to mx plus b, right? These two pieces of information are both given. So the answer is handed to you already, right? We have m is equal to -1/3 and b is equal to -2. So the answer is y is equal to -1/3 x plus -2, which is equal to -1/3 x minus 2. That's your answer. Okay. So I've said this like many times. Okay. Sometimes you don't know how to solve a question. The reason might be because you didn't see enough question of the same type. Okay. When you practice, you might practice a few questions and then like of one type, and then you start practicing like another type of questions, but for each type, you didn't practice enough, so everything comes natural to you. Okay, so when you see enough questions of one type, you will have a very, very deep understanding, and solving the question will not be a problem for you. Okay, so that's part A. Part B. Let's say the question is asking you to draw the straight line. Represented by the linear relation. Okay. Draw the straight line represented by the linear relation. Again, we have these two pieces of information. These didn't change. M is equal to -1/3, and B and the y-intercept is 0 - 2. Okay. In this information, we need to know how to read B of this information. B is just equal to this number, -2. Okay. B is just equal to this number. I will explain to you why. Okay, so now we have these two pieces of information, right? Okay. Now let's try to draw the straight line. Okay. So again, this is x-axis and this is y-axis, right? Oh, let me change the color. Okay, so this is the x and y intercept. Sorry, x and y axis, right? First step, we plot this point in the coordinates plane. 0 - 2. We know this is 0, so 0, right? And the x coordinate is 0, so we don't change on the x-axis. Y is -2, so we go down by 2 units. 1, 2. So this is -2. This point is 0 - 2, right? So this piece of information has been used. Now we have the slope. How do we use the slope? Okay, so the slope is equal to -1/3. So it's -1/3. Okay, so here, I want to make a side note. -1/3, you can write it as -1/3 or 1/-3. The result doesn't change. Okay, so in this case, this is rise and this is run, right? Run. And in this case, this is rise and this is run. The result of these two different ways is the same. Okay, I repeat this. So if we have -1/3 or like a minus number, whether you put a minus sign in the numerator or the denominator, the final result doesn't change. Okay, so you can pick the way you feel the most comfortable with. Okay, so let me just do the first one. Let me just try the first one. So oops, sorry. So this is -2, right? This is 0 - 2. And if we go with this, then the rise is -1. Rise is -1 means we need to go down by 1 unit. So this is starting point. We go down here. Run is 3, which means we need to go to the right by 3 units. 1, 2, 3. So the final point is here. So this is the other point. Okay, this is the other point. So now we have the point. Now we have the y-intercept, and we have the point that we found based on the slope information. What we need to do here is we just join these 2 points. We just join these 2 points. And this straight line will be the straight line that we need to find. Okay, this is straight line, but that we need to find. So we've seen two questions. We've seen two examples of the same type. Okay, I hope this is enough for you to understand the process. Okay, like you need to know what's a step one, what's a step two in order to solve this kind of questions. Let me see what next. What's the next question I need to explain? Okay, so up to this point, up to this minute, what I was talking about was was what we saw in class. Okay, so starting from this point, everything onwards will be the materials that we didn't talk about in class. Okay, so you can see whatever I talked about in the first 20 something minutes as a review. Okay, so because we saw this in class, right? And this is part 3. Sorry, question 3. Find the slope and y-intercept for the line through the points A and B. And the coordinates of A is -2, 1. Coordinates of B is 7, 4. So when we're given two points, the most common way to find the expression is to use the point slope form. Okay, because with 2 points, it's easy for us to find the slope and it's easy for us to use the point slope form. Okay, so let me write it here. So now we have 2 points, right? We have A -2, 1. We have B 7, 4, right? This should be easy for us now. Okay, so I'm not going to explain too much. I'm just going to show you the steps. With these 2 points, we can find the slope of the straight line. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, which is equal to 4 minus 1 over 7 minus 2. So that's 3 over 9, which is 1 over 3. So that's a slope. Okay. How do we find this point slope form with slope and 2 points? We pick either one of the point and the result will be the same. So we have this point. So if we use the slope and use this point, or we use the slope and this point, the result will be the same. So next step is, let's say I choose point B. So the point slope form will be y minus 4 is equal to 1 over 3 times x minus 7. Okay, I'm not going to explain why because I've explained enough in other videos. Okay, so now we just need to manipulate this expression. Okay, let me copy it here. So y is equal to, y minus 4 is equal to 1 over 3 x minus 7. Now, the question is asking us to find the slope of the line. The question is asking us to find the slope and the y-intercept of the line. We actually already did the first part. We found the slope. The slope m is equal to 1 over 3, right? We found it in this step. The second part is we need to find the y-intercept. So how do we find the y-intercept? We change this point slope form to y is equal to mx plus b. If we can somehow change this form, if we can somehow change this expression to this expression of this form, then we can read the y-intercept directly off the expression, right? So basically, we just need to isolate y and put everything else in on the other side of the equation. Okay, so here we just, okay, so our goal is to change this equation, this form, to this form. Okay, so we can see in this form, only y is on the left side of the equation, right? So here, we also need to just leave y on the left side of the equation. So we need to move this to the right side. So this becomes y is equal to 1 over 3 x minus 7 plus 4, right? And we also need to see, so here, m and x, this term is the slope times x. There's no brackets between them. So here, we need to open these brackets to make sure that the slope and x, they're a product, okay? So y is equal to 1 over 3x minus 7 over 3 plus 4. So now we're approaching this, the point slope, sorry, the slope intercept form, right? We already have this part. This part and this part, they're consistent now, right? Now we just need to find b. B is a single number, okay? So we can let this happen. We can have a few numbers added together. Like we can leave the form like this. We need to combine all the real numbers. So y is equal to 1 over 3x. So 4 is 12 over 3, right? 12 over 3 minus 7, that's 5 over 3. So plus 5 over 3. Okay, so now if we compare this form and this form, we can see mx, mx, b, b. Okay, so now we know that this number is b, and we know that the y-intercept, so this is equal to the y-intercept. Okay, so the y-intercept is equal to 5 over 3. Okay, and part C is as write the equation in the form y is equal to mx plus b. We already did it here, right? So we just copy the answer. Y is equal to 1 over 3x plus 5 over 3. And the y-intercept is 5 over 3.